In a faraway village nestled at the edge of a dense forest, there lived a young African girl named Zola. The village was vibrant with life, its people full of warmth and traditions that had been passed down for generations. Zola was an ordinary girl with extraordinary dreams. Her heart was filled with the desire to explore the world beyond the village and experience the wonders she had only heard about in stories. Zola's family was neither rich nor poor. They lived a modest life, her parents working hard in the fields to provide for their children. Zola, being the eldest, helped her mother with household chores and took care of her younger siblings. Despite her responsibilities, she always found time to dream. She would sit by the river, watching the water flow, and imagine the adventures it had seen on its journey. One day, as Zola was fetching water from the river, she noticed a commotion in the village square. Curiosity piqued, she hurried back with her water pot to see what was happening. To her surprise, a group of strangers had arrived. They were dressed in fine clothes, unlike anything Zola had ever seen. Their presence was a rare spectacle, and the villagers gathered around them, whispering in awe. The leader of the group, a stern-looking woman with a commanding presence, stepped forward and addressed the crowd. She introduced herself as Mistress Imara, the queen's most trusted advisor. The queen, she explained, was in need of a new handmaiden, and Mistress Imara had been sent to find the perfect candidate. The news spread quickly, and soon every young girl in the village was eager to be chosen. Zola's heart raced with excitement and fear. This was the opportunity she had been dreaming of, a chance to leave the village and see the world. But she knew the competition would be fierce. Girls lined up, each hoping to catch Mistress Imara's eye. Zola stood among them, her heart pounding in her chest. Mistress Imara scrutinized each girl carefully, her sharp eyes missing nothing. When it was Zola's turn, she stepped forward with as much confidence as she could muster. Mistress Imara looked her up and down, then asked her a series of questions. Zola answered honestly, her voice steady despite her nerves. Mistress Imara's expression remained unreadable, and Zola couldn't tell if she had impressed her or not. Days passed, and Zola heard nothing. She continued with her daily chores, trying to push the thought of the selection from her mind. Just as she was beginning to lose hope, a messenger arrived at her doorstep with a letter. Her hands trembled as she opened it. To her astonishment, she had been chosen as the new handmaiden. Excitement and disbelief washed over her. She was to leave the village immediately and travel to the royal palace. Her family was overjoyed, though their happiness was tinged with sadness at the thought of her leaving. They helped her pack, and before she knew it, Zola was on her way. The journey was long and tiring, but Zola's spirits remained high. She marveled at the changing landscapes, the bustling towns, and the majestic mountains. Each new sight filled her with wonder. When they finally arrived at the palace, Zola could hardly believe her eyes. It was grander than anything she had imagined. The walls were adorned with intricate carvings, and the gardens were a riot of colors. She was led inside, where she met Mistress Imara again. The stern woman explained her duties and the rules she was expected to follow. Zola listened attentively, determined to do her best. Life in the palace was vastly different from the village. Zola quickly learned that her position as a handmaiden was both a privilege and a challenge. She had to navigate the complex hierarchy of the royal household and stay on the good side of those in power. Mistress Imara, despite her harsh demeanor, was a fair mentor. She saw potential in Zola and pushed her to excel. Zola's days were filled with tasks and lessons. She learned how to serve the queen, attend to her needs, and anticipate her desires. The queen was kind, but distant, a figure of immense power and grace. Zola admired her and aspired to earn her favor. She worked diligently, her determination never wavering. As months passed, Zola's efforts began to pay off. She grew more confident in her role and gained the trust of those around her. Even Mistress Imara softened towards her, acknowledging her hard work. But life in the palace was not without its challenges. There were rivalries and jealousies, and Zola had to be careful not to get caught in the crossfire. One day, a significant event changed the course of Zola's life. The queen announced a grand celebration to mark a victorious battle. The entire palace was abuzz with preparations. Zola was assigned an important task to oversee the decorations in the queen's private chambers. It was a daunting responsibility, but Zola approached it with her usual determination. As she worked, she couldn't help but overhear a heated argument between Mistress Imara and another advisor. Their voices echoed through the corridors, filled with anger and impatience. Zola tried to focus on her task, but their words were hard to ignore. They were discussing a matter of great importance, something that could affect the entire kingdom. Zola's curiosity got the better of her. She discreetly moved closer, careful not to be seen. What she heard shocked her. Mistress Imara was furious about a decision made by the queen. Her anger was palpable, and Zola realized that the situation was more serious than she had thought. She knew she had to do something, but she was unsure what. That night, as Zola lay in bed, she couldn't stop thinking about the argument. She knew that speaking up could be dangerous, but she felt a sense of duty to protect the queen and the kingdom. She decided to confide in a trusted friend, another handmaiden named Amale. Together, they devised a plan to gather more information and find a way to help. Over the next few days, Zola and Amale quietly observed Mistress Imara and the other advisor. They uncovered a plot that threatened the stability of the kingdom. Armed with this knowledge, Zola knew she had to act quickly. She mustered all her courage and approached the queen, revealing what she had learned. The queen listened intently, her expression growing more serious with each passing moment. When Zola finished, the queen thanked her and assured her that she would handle the situation. True to her word, the queen took swift action, neutralizing the threat and ensuring the safety of the kingdom. Zola's bravery did not go unnoticed. The queen publicly praised her, and Mistress Imara, though initially furious, eventually acknowledged Zola's loyalty and courage. Zola's status in the palace rose, and she became a trusted confidant of the queen. Her dreams of adventure had led her to a place of honor and responsibility. As Zola stood on the palace balcony, looking out over the kingdom, she realized that her journey had only just begun. She had found her place in the world, but she knew there were still many challenges ahead. With a heart full of hope and determination, she embraced her new life, ready to face whatever the future held. The celebration of the Queen's victory marked a pivotal moment in the palace. The air was filled with excitement as preparations reached a fever pitch. Zola, now a trusted figure in the royal household, found herself at the center of the hustle and bustle. Her role had evolved significantly, and she was now responsible for overseeing several key aspects of the festivities. On the morning of the event, the palace grounds were transformed into a scene of breathtaking beauty. Vibrant tapestries adorned the walls, and the scent of exotic flowers filled the air. Musicians tuned their instruments, and the royal chefs prepared an array of sumptuous dishes. Zola moved swiftly, ensuring that everything was perfect. As the guests began to arrive, the atmosphere grew electric. Nobles from far and wide, dressed in their finest attire, mingled and exchanged pleasantries. Zola's sharp eyes missed nothing as she observed the interactions. She noted the subtle power plays and alliances being forged, understanding that the Queen's celebration was more than just a party. It was a stage for political maneuvering. Among the guests was a mysterious figure who caught Zola's attention. A tall, regal man with an air of authority, he seemed to command respect without uttering a word. Zola learned that he was Prince Kwame from a neighboring kingdom, known for his wisdom and diplomatic skills. His presence added an element of intrigue to the proceedings. As the evening progressed, Zola noticed that Mistress Imara seemed unusually tense. The stern advisor was rarely rattled, and Zola couldn't help but wonder what had her so on edge. She decided to keep a close watch on her mentor, sensing that something important was unfolding. The Queen made her grand entrance, greeted by thunderous applause. She radiated grace and strength, her presence commanding the room. After addressing the assembly, she invited everyone to enjoy the feast. Laughter and music filled the halls as people celebrated the Queen's triumph. Zola's duties took her to various parts of the palace, and it was in a secluded corridor that she overheard another conversation that piqued her curiosity. Two servants were whispering about a secret meeting that was to take place later that night. They mentioned Prince Kwame and a matter of great importance. Zola's instincts told her that this was something she needed to know more about. Later, under the cover of darkness, Zola made her way to the location she had overheard. She hid behind a pillar, her heart pounding in her chest. From her vantage point, she saw Prince Kwame, Mistress Imara, and several other key figures engaged in a hushed discussion. Their words were barely audible, but Zola strained to catch as much as she could. The conversation revolved around a proposed alliance between the Queen's kingdom and Prince Kwame's realm. It was a delicate matter, fraught with potential pitfalls. Mistress Imara argued passionately for the alliance, emphasizing the mutual benefits. Prince Kwame listened carefully, his expression thoughtful. The tension in the room was palpable, and Zola realized that the outcome of this meeting could shape the future of both kingdoms. As the discussion continued, it became clear that not everyone was in agreement. Some advisors were wary of the alliance, fearing it would weaken their own position. Others saw it as an opportunity to strengthen ties and secure peace. Zola's mind raced as she processed the implications. She knew that the Queen would need to be informed of the differing opinions and the potential risks. The meeting ended without a definitive resolution, and the participants dispersed quietly. Zola slipped away unnoticed, her thoughts racing. She made her way to the Queen's chambers, hoping to find an opportunity to speak with her. The Queen was deep in conversation with a trusted confidant, but she noticed Zola's anxious expression and beckoned her forward. Zola recounted what she had overheard, carefully outlining the key points of the discussion. The Queen listened intently, her face betraying no emotion. When Zola finished, the Queen thanked her and assured her that she would consider the information carefully. Zola knew that the Queen's wisdom would guide her decision, but she couldn't shake the feeling that the stakes were higher than ever. In the days that followed, the palace buzzed with speculation about the proposed alliance. Zola continued to perform her duties with diligence, but her mind was never far from the unfolding drama. She knew that the Queen was weighing her options and that the future of the kingdom hung in the balance. One evening, the Queen summoned her most trusted advisors to a private council. Zola was not part of the inner circle, but she waited anxiously for news. When the council finally emerged, their expressions were guarded. The Queen's decision had been made, but the details were yet to be revealed. The next day, the Queen addressed the entire court. She spoke of the need for unity and strength in the face of growing challenges. She announced that an alliance would indeed be formed with Prince Kwame's kingdom, a decision met with a mix of relief and apprehension. The Queen's words were measured and wise, reflecting her deep understanding of the complexities involved. Prince Kwame, who had remained at the palace during the deliberations, expressed his gratitude and pledged his support. His presence reassured many who had been uncertain about the alliance. As he and the Queen exchanged symbolic gifts, the court erupted in applause, signaling the beginning of a new chapter in their history. Zola watched from the sidelines, her heart swelling with pride. She had played a small but significant role in this momentous decision, and she knew that her life in the palace would continue to be filled with challenges and opportunities. As the celebrations continued, she couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of purpose. She was part of something much larger than herself, and the future, with all its uncertainties, seemed brighter than ever. As the dawn light filtered through the ornate windows of the palace, Zola awoke with a sense of anticipation. The new alliance with Prince Kwame's kingdom had set many plans into motion, and today was the first of many steps towards solidifying this union. Her tasks were growing in importance, reflecting her rising status in the court. The Queen had entrusted Zola with overseeing the preparations for the arrival of Prince Kwame's delegation. It was a significant responsibility, one that required meticulous attention to detail. Zola knew that every aspect of their visit would be scrutinized, and any misstep could cast a shadow over the fledgling alliance. Zola coordinated with the palace staff, ensuring that the finest accommodations were prepared for the guests. She selected exquisite fabrics for the beds, arranged fresh flowers in every room, and oversaw the preparation of lavish feasts. The palace buzzed with activity, and Zola's calm yet authoritative demeanor kept everything running smoothly. On the day of the delegation's arrival, the palace grounds were immaculate. Flags bearing the emblems of both kingdoms fluttered in the breeze, symbolizing the unity they sought to achieve. Zola stood at the entrance with the Queen and her advisors, ready to welcome Prince Kwame and his entourage. The sound of drums heralded the arrival of the delegation. Prince Kwame, resplendent in his royal attire, led the procession. His presence was commanding, his demeanor both regal and approachable. Zola felt a surge of pride as she watched the prince and his entourage approach the palace. The Queen and Prince Kwame exchanged warm greetings, setting a tone of mutual respect and camaraderie. As the formalities concluded, the guests were escorted to their chambers to rest before the evening's grand banquet. Zola ensured that everything was perfect, her mind constantly racing through her checklist of tasks. That evening, the grand hall was transformed into a spectacle of splendor. Tables were laden with the finest dishes, each meticulously prepared by the royal chefs. Musicians played melodies that floated through the air, adding to the ambience. Zola moved through the hall, overseeing the final touches and ensuring that every detail was flawless. As the banquet began, Zola observed the interactions between the two royal parties. The conversation flowed smoothly, and laughter echoed through the hall. It was clear that the bond between the two kingdoms was strengthening, and Zola felt a deep sense of satisfaction in knowing she had contributed to this historic moment. Amid the revelry, Zola noticed a figure slipping quietly out of the hall. It was one of Prince Kwame's advisors, a man with a reputation for cunning and ambition. Her curiosity piqued, Zola decided to follow him discreetly, her instincts telling her that something important was afoot. The advisor made his way to a secluded courtyard where he met with a shadowy figure. Zola hid behind a column, straining to hear their conversation. They spoke in hushed tones, discussing plans that seemed at odds with the spirit of the alliance. Zola realized that there were still those who harbored doubts and sought to undermine the union. Determined to uncover the truth, Zola stayed hidden, listening intently. The advisor and his accomplice spoke of a plot to sway the Queen and Prince Kwame in different directions, using deceit and manipulation. The gravity of their words chilled Zola, but she remained composed, knowing she had to act carefully. As the conversation concluded, Zola slipped away unnoticed. She knew she needed to inform the Queen, but she also understood the importance of discretion. That night, she sought out Amahle, her trusted friend and confidant. Together, they devised a plan to gather more information and expose the conspirators. In the days that followed, Zola and Amahle kept a close watch on the advisor and his associates. They noted their movements, recorded their conversations, and slowly pieced together the full extent of the plot. It was a delicate operation, requiring patience and caution, but Zola's determination never wavered. The Queen, sensing Zola's unease, summoned her one evening. Zola seized the opportunity to share what she had learned. She spoke with clarity and conviction, detailing the advisor's deceit and the potential threat to the alliance. The Queen listened carefully, her eyes narrowing as she absorbed the information. With Zola's revelations, the Queen acted swiftly and decisively. She confronted the advisor in a private council, exposing his treachery before the assembled court. The advisor, caught off guard, could not deny the evidence presented against him. The Queen ordered his immediate removal, and he was taken away in disgrace. The revelation sent shockwaves through the palace, but it also reinforced the bond between the two kingdoms. The Queen and Prince Kwame, grateful for Zola's vigilance, redoubled their efforts to ensure the success of their alliance. Trust was restored, and the foundation for a lasting partnership was strengthened. Zola's role continued to evolve, her responsibilities growing with each passing day. She became an invaluable asset to the Queen, her insights and dedication earning her the respect of all who knew her. The palace, once a place of dreams, had become a realm of endless possibilities, and Zola knew that her journey was far from over. As the sun rose over the palace, casting a warm glow on the bustling grounds, Zola prepared for yet another day of intricate responsibilities. The alliance with Prince Kwame's kingdom had ushered in an era of renewed hope and cooperation, and Zola's role in the palace continued to grow in significance. Today she faced a new challenge, hosting a cultural exchange that would celebrate the unique traditions of both realms. The palace was alive with activity as artisans, musicians, and performers from both kingdoms arrived. Zola had spent weeks coordinating this event, ensuring that every detail was meticulously planned. She moved through the crowd, her presence a calming influence as she directed the final preparations. In the grand courtyard, a stage had been erected, adorned with vibrant fabrics and symbols representing the two kingdoms. The scent of exotic spices and flowers filled the air, mingling with the melodies of traditional instruments. The Queen and Prince Kwame had both taken a personal interest in the event, understanding its importance in solidifying their alliance. As the festivities began, Zola watched with pride as dancers from her homeland performed alongside those from Prince Kwame's kingdom. The audience was captivated by the display of grace and unity, the blending of cultures creating a beautiful tapestry of shared heritage. Zola's heart swelled with emotion, knowing that she had played a part in bringing this vision to life. Amid the celebrations, Zola noticed a group of children from both kingdoms playing together, their laughter a testament to the harmony that was being forged. She smiled, thinking of her own siblings and how they would have enjoyed such a spectacle. It was in these moments that the true value of the alliance became clear, transcending politics and touching the hearts of the people. As the day progressed, Zola's attention was drawn to a distinguished guest, a renowned storyteller named Amina. Known for her enchanting tales and wisdom, Amina had traveled far to attend the event. Zola had long admired her work and seized the opportunity to speak with her. They found a quiet corner in the garden, away from the bustling crowd. Amina's eyes twinkled with warmth as she greeted Zola. They spoke at length, sharing stories and insights. Amina's presence was soothing, her voice like a gentle breeze as she recounted ancient legends and folk tales. Zola listened intently, absorbing the wisdom and inspiration that flowed from the storyteller's words. Their conversation was interrupted by a commotion in the courtyard. Zola excused herself and hurried to see what was happening. She found a young boy from Prince Kwame's kingdom, tears streaming down his face. He had lost a precious family heirloom, a small, intricately carved pendant that held great sentimental value. Zola knelt beside the boy, her heart aching for him. She promised to help find the pendant and enlisted the assistance of Amale and other trusted friends. They searched high and low, their determination unwavering. As they combed through the palace grounds, Zola thought of the importance of this heirloom and the memories it held. Hours passed, and just as they were about to lose hope, Amale's sharp eyes spotted something glinting in the grass. She picked up the pendant, her face lighting up with triumph. They rushed back to the boy, who beamed with joy and gratitude when they returned the cherished item. The boy's mother, a member of Prince Kwame's entourage, thanked Zola profusely, her eyes filled with relief. The day drew to a close with a grand feast where both kingdoms shared their culinary delights. Zola sat with Amina, who continued to weave her magical stories, captivating all who listened. The bonds between the two kingdoms were strengthened not just through diplomacy, but through shared experiences and mutual respect. As the moon rose high in the sky, casting a silvery light over the palace, Zola reflected on the day's events. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that she had contributed to the unity and understanding between the two realms. The path ahead was filled with challenges, but with each step, Zola was shaping a brighter future for her people and forging connections that would endure for generations to come. In the heart of the palace, preparations were underway for a diplomatic meeting between the Queen, Prince Kwame, and several influential leaders from neighboring regions. The stakes were high, as this gathering aimed to address pressing issues such as trade routes, defense strategies, and cultural exchanges. Zola, now a key figure in the royal court, played an integral role in organizing the event, her keen eye ensuring that every detail was flawless. The grand hall, where the meeting would take place, was adorned with symbols of unity and cooperation. Zola had chosen a theme that celebrated the rich heritage of both kingdoms, incorporating traditional motifs and vibrant colors. The room was a testament to her dedication and creativity, a visual representation of the alliance's aspirations. As the leaders began to arrive, Zola greeted them with grace and respect. She guided them to their places, her calm demeanor setting the tone for the proceedings. The atmosphere was tense but hopeful, the weight of the discussions to come palpable in the air. The Queen opened the meeting with a powerful speech, emphasizing the importance of collaboration and mutual respect. Her words were met with nods of agreement, and the discussions commenced. Zola observed the interactions carefully, noting the dynamics between the different leaders. It was a delicate dance of diplomacy, each word and gesture carrying significant weight. Prince Kwame spoke next, his voice resonant with authority and wisdom. He presented a proposal for a unified defense strategy, highlighting the benefits of shared resources and coordinated efforts. The idea was well received, and a lively debate ensued, with each leader contributing their perspectives. Throughout the meeting, Zola ensured that refreshments were provided and that any logistical needs were met. She moved quietly and efficiently, her presence a reassuring constant amidst the intense discussions. She couldn't help but feel a sense of pride as she watched the leaders work together, their differences giving way to a collective vision for the future. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the grand hall, the discussions began to wind down. Agreements were reached on several key issues, and the leaders expressed their commitment to ongoing collaboration. The meeting concluded on a positive note, with plans set in motion for future gatherings. That evening, the palace hosted a banquet to celebrate the successful negotiations. Zola had arranged for a feast that showcased the culinary traditions of both kingdoms, a symbol of their unity. The grand hall was filled with laughter and conversation, the leaders mingling and sharing stories. It was a joyous occasion, a testament to the power of diplomacy and cooperation. Amidst the festivities, Zola's attention was drawn to an elderly woman who had arrived with Prince Kwame's delegation. The woman, dressed in simple yet elegant attire, exuded an air of quiet wisdom. Zola approached her, curious to learn more about her. The woman introduced herself as Nandi, a revered elder and advisor to Prince Kwame. Her eyes sparkled with kindness as she spoke, her voice carrying the weight of many years of experience. Zola was captivated by Nandi's stories, which were filled with lessons of resilience, compassion, and leadership. As they conversed, Nandi shared an old legend from her homeland. It was the tale of a young girl who, against all odds, rose to become a great leader. The girl's journey was fraught with challenges, but her determination and integrity guided her through. Nandi's storytelling was mesmerizing, and Zola found herself deeply moved by the parallels to her own life. Nandi's wisdom and insight left a profound impression on Zola. She realized that there was much to learn from those who had come before her, and she vowed to seek out their guidance as she continued her path. The night ended with a sense of renewed purpose and inspiration. The bonds between the kingdoms strengthened by shared stories and experiences. The following days were filled with a flurry of activity as the palace prepared for the departure of the visiting leaders. Zola oversaw the logistics, ensuring that everything was in order. She took the opportunity to bid farewell to the guests, expressing her gratitude for their contributions to the successful meeting. Before Prince Kwame and his delegation left, he took Zola aside. He praised her for her efforts and dedication, acknowledging the crucial role she had played in fostering the alliance. Zola felt a deep sense of pride and humility, her resolve to serve the queen and her kingdom stronger than ever. As the last of the guests departed, the palace settled back into its usual rhythm. Zola reflected on the events of the past weeks, grateful for the opportunities and challenges that had come her way. She knew that the road ahead would be filled with new adventures and trials, but she was ready to face them with courage and determination. With the palace returning to its regular rhythm, Zola found herself amidst a new challenge. The queen had decided to embark on a royal tour of the kingdom, aiming to strengthen ties with her people and ensure the prosperity of the land. Zola was tasked with organizing the tour, a massive undertaking that required careful planning and coordination. The first destination was a bustling port city, known for its vibrant markets and diverse population. The city's governor, an old ally of the queen, had promised a grand welcome. Zola oversaw the preparations, ensuring that everything was perfect for the queen's arrival. The streets were adorned with colorful banners, and the aroma of freshly prepared feasts filled the air. As the royal entourage entered the city, they were met with enthusiastic cheers. The queen, riding at the head of the procession, waved to the crowds, her presence inspiring admiration and loyalty. Zola rode beside her, her eyes scanning the surroundings to ensure everything proceeded smoothly. The queen's first visit was to a local orphanage, where she spent time with the children, listening to their stories and encouraging them. Zola watched with a sense of pride as the queen interacted with the children, her genuine warmth and kindness evident in every gesture. The visit left a lasting impact on both the children and the queen, reinforcing the importance of compassion and care. Next, the queen and her entourage visited the bustling market. Merchants displayed their finest wares, from exotic spices to intricate textiles. The queen took her time, speaking with the vendors and sampling their goods. Zola ensured that the queen's path was clear and that each interaction was smooth and meaningful. During their stay, the city hosted a grand festival in honor of the queen's visit. Performers from across the region showcased their talents, from traditional dances to mesmerizing acrobatics. The atmosphere was electric, filled with joy and celebration. Zola, though busy coordinating the event, took moments to appreciate the beauty and talent on display. Amidst the festivities, Zola noticed a young girl performing an intricate dance. The girl's movements were fluid and graceful, her passion evident in every step. After the performance, Zola approached her, curious to learn more. The girl named Amara shared her dream of becoming a renowned dancer and bringing pride to her village. Inspired by Amara's determination, Zola decided to help her. She introduced Amara to the queen, who was equally impressed by the young dancer's talent. The queen arranged for Amara to receive formal training at the Royal Academy, giving her the opportunity to hone her skills and achieve her dreams. Amara's eyes sparkled with gratitude, and Zola felt a deep sense of fulfillment in helping her. The royal tour continued, taking the queen and her entourage through lush valleys, over towering mountains, and into bustling towns. At each stop, Zola ensured that the queen's visits were meaningful and impactful, strengthening the bonds between the crown and the people. The journey was not without its challenges, but Zola's unwavering dedication and meticulous planning ensured its success. In a remote village nestled in the mountains, the queen met with elders to discuss the unique challenges faced by their community. The village was known for its skilled artisans, who crafted exquisite pottery and textiles. Zola admired their craftsmanship, understanding the cultural significance of their work. The queen pledged support for the village, ensuring that their traditions would be preserved and their livelihoods sustained. One evening, as the royal entourage camped by a serene lake, the queen called for a gathering around the campfire. The flames danced in the night, casting a warm glow on the faces of those gathered. The queen, with Zola by her side, shared stories of their journey, emphasizing the importance of unity and cooperation. Elders from the village told tales of their ancestors, their voices filled with pride and reverence. One elder, a wise woman named Isi, recounted a legend about a mythical bird that brought prosperity and peace wherever it flew. The story captivated everyone, its message of hope and resilience resonating deeply. Inspired by Isi's tale, Zola realized the power of stories in connecting people and preserving heritage. She vowed to learn more about the legends and traditions of her land, understanding that they held the key to the kingdom's unity and strength. The royal tour drew to a close with a grand ceremony in the capital city. The queen addressed the gathered crowd, reflecting on the journey and the bonds that had been strengthened along the way. Her words were met with thunderous applause, a testament to the success of the tour. As the queen and her entourage returned to the palace, Zola felt a profound sense of accomplishment. She had navigated numerous challenges, forged new connections, and helped bring the queen's vision to life. The experiences and lessons from the tour had deepened her understanding of her role and the importance of her contributions. The palace, once again a hub of activity, welcomed the queen and her entourage back with open arms. Zola knew that the future would bring new challenges and opportunities, but she was ready to face them with unwavering determination and a heart full of hope. The return to the palace was marked by celebrations and a renewed sense of purpose. The success of the royal tour had energized the kingdom, and the queen's popularity soared. Zola, now a trusted advisor, found herself busier than ever, but the accomplishments and experiences she had gained filled her with a deep sense of fulfillment. One morning, as Zola was attending to her duties, a messenger arrived with urgent news. A neighboring kingdom, long known for its isolationist policies, had reached out with a proposal for an alliance. This was unprecedented, and the queen immediately recognized the significance of this gesture. She summoned her council, including Zola, to discuss the matter. The council chamber buzzed with anticipation. The queen, seated at the head of the table, listened carefully as the messenger relayed the proposal. The neighboring kingdom had faced a series of natural disasters and sought aid and partnership to rebuild. They were willing to open their borders and share their rich cultural heritage in exchange for assistance. Zola, understanding the potential benefits and challenges of such an alliance, spoke up. She emphasized the importance of extending a hand of friendship and support, highlighting the opportunity to foster unity and learn from each other. The council agreed, and it was decided that a delegation would be sent to the neighboring kingdom to explore the terms of the alliance. The delegation, led by the queen and including Zola, set out with a sense of excitement and responsibility. The journey to the neighboring kingdom was arduous, taking them through rugged terrain and uncharted territories. Along the way, they encountered breathtaking landscapes and met people whose lives had been shaped by their environment. Upon reaching their destination, they were warmly welcomed by the king and his advisors. The contrast between the two kingdoms was stark, but there was a mutual respect and curiosity that bridged the gap. The delegation spent several days in discussions, exploring ways to collaborate and support each other. Zola, always attentive to the nuances of diplomacy, took the opportunity to learn about the neighboring kingdom's traditions and challenges. She visited villages and spoke with the locals, gaining insights into their way of life. She was particularly struck by the resilience and ingenuity of the people who had adapted to their harsh environment with remarkable resourcefulness. One evening, as the delegation gathered for a ceremonial feast, the king shared a story that had been passed down through generations. It was the tale of a mythical tree that grew in the heart of their kingdom, said to possess healing properties and the power to bring prosperity. The tree, however, had withered in recent years, mirroring the kingdom's struggles. The queen, moved by the story, proposed a symbolic gesture to mark the beginning of their alliance. She suggested that the two kingdoms work together to restore the mythical tree, seeing it as a representation of their joint efforts to rebuild and thrive. The king agreed, and the next day, a group from both kingdoms set out to find and revive the legendary tree. The journey to the tree's location was challenging, but the combined knowledge and determination of the group saw them through. When they finally reached the ancient tree, its condition was dire. Undeterred, they worked tirelessly, using their skills and resources to nurture it back to health. The process was slow, but gradually signs of life began to return to the tree. As the tree regained its vitality, the bond between the two kingdoms strengthened. The collaboration not only symbolized their alliance, but also fostered a deep sense of camaraderie and shared purpose. The efforts to revive the tree became a testament to what they could achieve together. Upon returning to the palace, the queen and her delegation were hailed as heroes. The successful alliance and the story of the revived tree spread throughout the kingdom, inspiring hope and unity. Zola, reflecting on the journey, felt a profound sense of pride and accomplishment. In the weeks that followed, the alliance flourished. Trade routes were established, cultural exchanges enriched both societies, and mutual aid projects led to significant improvements in the quality of life for many. The neighboring kingdom, once isolated and struggling, began to thrive, and the partnership with the Queen's realm played a pivotal role in this transformation. The Queen, recognizing Zola's invaluable contributions, appointed her as the chief diplomat. It was a role that perfectly suited Zola's talents and passions. She embraced her new responsibilities with enthusiasm, knowing that her efforts would continue to shape the future of the kingdom. As the seasons changed, the palace became a symbol of unity and cooperation. The alliances forged, the challenges overcome, and the friendships made had all contributed to a stronger, more resilient kingdom. Zola's journey, marked by courage, wisdom, and dedication, had not only transformed her own life, but had also left an indelible mark on the history of her people. With a heart full of hope and a vision for the future, Zola looked forward to the many adventures and challenges that lay ahead, ready to continue serving her queen and her kingdom with unwavering commitment.